Hey guys, Sixth here with part 3 of my tutorial series. So where we left off last time was we set up our character with his custom layout from the arsenal. We did a little bit of scripting and we added that so when you start you load up all your custom gear. So now what we're going to need to do is we'll create a little bit of a base for our single guy at the moment. Maybe we'll add in a few more people for him. But I guess we'll make the start right over here by this church. Let's turn textures on to see what we're working with here. So one of the things that we're going to do is we're going to put down some units, and we're going to put down empties this time. Remember I said we were going to talk about that in the past? Well, now we are. So we'll go to ammo. We'll give them some sort of ammo box or ammo crate. Of course we can do our own custom one if we wanted to, but we're not going to do that right now. I think we'll do that later though. So we'll just add a US Army basic ammo. If you don't have the mods that we have, then it doesn't really matter. You can add a NATO one. And we'll put that down right here. Then we'll add another empty, but this time we'll give them a vehicle. So we'll go to cars, or actually we'll go to US vehicles. We'll go to wheeled. And we've got quite a few to choose from. Give him an unarmed Ranger Humvee. So we'll put that right over here. And of course, if you click on an object and then hold Shift, you can rotate it around. And if you hit Control C and then Control V, you can paste them, and it will paste wherever your cursor is. So it follows the cursor. Then we'll add another empty. We'll go to Objects Flags. We'll add a US flag to signify this is our little US base. And then finally, we'll add some sort of fortification. So we'll go to Structures, Military, and we'll just add a NATO camouflage net. This net might fall down because of the placement of our vehicles, but if it does, we'll just change it. Let's see what our little spawn looks like. Of course, you can add anything that you want to the spawn, but this is all we need to add for our little tutorial. Alright, so we've got our flag. It kind of looks a little goofy going through the net, so I would move it to the left a little bit, personally. We've got our Humvees, and we've got our ammo crate. And it's got a couple things in it. And of course, if we wanted to, we could get into the vehicle and drive away. But this was just testing to see how it looked at our spawn. So that's all fine. Go ahead and move that flagpole a little bit over to the left. Then we'll save. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to add some more people. So let's go ahead and click on units. Go to Blue 4, NATO, men. We'll add a rifleman. And we'll add a combat lifesaver. Now right now, notice how mine has the red circle, these have nothing. That means that these are AI, and that this is a player. So if we wanted to export this to multiplayer, one thing we would have to do is we would have to select playable here. So now, if we export it to multiplayer, you can choose to be the team leader, the rifleman, or the combat lifesaver. So one thing to note, when testing with AI in the editor, our script won't load on any of these AI units. Our custom script, that is, for the armory. And that's okay. That's just basically because we're not in a dedicated server. But, or if that's not the reason, it's just because something to do with the editor, but it does work fine in multiplayer. Another thing to note is that these have different IDs. And the IDs are very important because of this right here. So only characters with the ID of this will change to our Agent 1 script. So if we wanted to add more agents, or in this case, add more players that look like Agent 1, we would just simply add case, and then we'll get what the names are, or the IDs were. So bmedicf, copy that, paste it in right here. And then I would do the same thing for the rifleman if I wanted to. I don't need to do that right now though, because this is just an example for how you would add more. And then of course, if you made another person, instead of having more than Agent 1, you named him Agent 2, and he was specifically a meta class, then you just change that to Agent 2. So now I've got a little team here. This is a 3-person co-op mission so far. They'll follow me around and do my bidding, but there's no real clear objectives, things that I should be doing or briefing yet. So we're going to work on creating a task and creating some briefing. There's two ways to do these. You could do modules for each of them by placing F7 and then going to Intel and then create task. And then for briefing, Intel, create daily record, and this will work. However, it's not exactly the way I prefer to do these things. So if you want to know more about these, you can look pretty much anywhere on the Bohemia website about it. But we're going to do them by scripting because it's cleaner, it's effective, and it's always going to work. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a new. Okay. And then we're going to name this one, save as. We'll leave it in the root folder as well. Briefing.sqf. Save. Now before we add any of our code to our briefing SQF, there's one thing that we always have to do. And that, in our initialization, we have to call it. Basically, at the start of your mission, your initialization is called first. And this briefing script will never be active unless we tell it to be called. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's add a comment here for calling scripts. And underneath that, we'll put null equals double brackets exec VM, which remember is calling a script, and it's called briefing.sqf. So that's all you have to do. Any more scripts you add, just do the same process here. So let's make sure we save that. And we're done with Agent 1, so we can close him. So now, in the briefing, there's a couple things that we're going to have to do, and we're going to have to think about. First off, what exactly do we want? What is our mission going to be about? What kind of backstories do we want to include? Do we want to include custom things, or just things like the mission, the situation? Well, I have no idea what this mission is going to be about, so we're just going to make it something fun and silly to start off with. So let's go ahead and create the Lufor mission. So the first thing we have to do is player create diary record, then in brackets diary mission. Forgot my quotation marks, so let's add those real quick. testing. 1, 2, 3. Again, this needs to be in quotes. And we've got 2 brackets, so I only closed one off, so there's the second one. And alright, this should work. So let's save that. So basically, what we're doing is for the player, we're creating a diary record, which is a briefing. Its main title will be, or its main, yeah, I guess you could say title it's a diary. It's going to be called mission, and then what will be displayed in the description will be testing 1, 2, 3. So let's go back to our mission. Click save. Click preview.
Running low on ammo.
So now when we start it up, we'll click M. Sure enough, we've got some briefing now. There's the mission. Testing 1, 2, 3. So this is great for multiple reasons. You could have done this by a module. However, the freedom to edit it is nowhere near as easy. When you're doing it through an SQF file, through coding, you can pretty much do whatever you want here, opposed to the limitations. We know that it's always going to work for a player. And we can change the title. So if we change this name right here, mission, it'll change right here. So if we called it farts or something, it'll say farts here. And then if we changed it from saying diary, everything that says diary shows up in the briefing tab. If we do it something like custom, it'll show up right here as custom, and then it will say mission. But we'll leave that at diary. Okay. Another thing that you can do is if you're doing a TVT style mission, is adding which side it would be on. For our case right here, it doesn't matter. It's just gonna be everybody's gonna be on the same team. Everybody's gonna be a player, so we can just use players. Say let's add another one, and we don't want to use diary. Like I said, we wanted to change it to something like custom. We're gonna have to first create a diary subject. So player create diary subject. We'll name it credits. So because we want to include some credits. And then we want it to also show up as credits. Sounds simple enough. Okay. Let's add a comment here just to remind us later. Creating a subject credits. Now we'll create the diary record. So player create diary record. This time it'll be credits. And in here it'll be credits. And we'll have it say mission created by the public. Okay. Let's go ahead and save that. See how it looks again. Make sure everything worked.
Running low on ammo.
Alright, so we still have our briefing, mission, testing 1, 2, 3. And now we have a tab called credits. It's called credits, mission created by the public. Okay, cool. Everything worked there. Let's go back into the editor. Another thing we might have to do, or you might have to do, say you have some lengthy text in your briefing, but you don't want it to just be one single line. You want it to look nice, have different lines. There's these syntax that you can use, and it's very simple. It's just BR/ in some less than greater than signs. So I'm going to go ahead and copy that, and then I'll just create an enter right here and say 4, 5, and 6. So actually, spacing it out right here might look a little messy, so I'll just tab it over so I know exactly that it's in this part right here. So now with the BR, it will create some spacing. that you'll see right here exactly what I'm talking about.
Running low on ammo.
So now in the briefing, now I created a space. Now if I wanted to go down even another line, I could just add another BR tag, and it's really good for making it look nice. Okay. Another thing that you guys might want to have in your briefing is, say, an image. So we're gonna go ahead and stick an image in here. Let's go. So we'll go to Google and we'll search for ArmA3 in the images. We'll just make sure that it's kind of smaller. That's really not that small. We'll make it an icon size. This will work. So we'll save this as, make sure we're in the right spot, which we are. Go ahead and create a new folder real quick called Images. And we'll just name this Briefing Image. Save. Now this is a ping. Arma is very particular about what files to use. So we actually need to save this as a JPEG. The only files that I know would work in ArmA3 are JPEGs. So we'll go ahead and open our image. And save it as a JPEG. We'll leave it the same name, but make sure it's in the images folder. Yep. Alright, so now we're back in the editor. We're going to go back to our scripts, and we're going to add the image. So we'll do sign img image equals images slash briefing image dot jpg slash. Okay, so we'll save that. Let's navigate to our folder just to make sure. There it is. Don't need this anymore, so we'll get rid of that. Okay, let's go ahead and test it out.
Running low on ammo.
So now in our briefing, there's our picture. Of course, there's many other things that we can do, like bold text and other things of that nature, but we really don't need to. So let's go back to our editor, and that'll cut this part. However, next time we're going to be talking about tasks.